Okay, I am going to do a review right now, and this is going to be a review on the first reads I got from Goodreads. I should have read this earlier. One, because, you know, they probably expected a review by now, and two, because it is intense and I don't know. I mean, it's like I wonder why it takes me so long to read these things, but at the same time I couldn't have known until I started reading it. I regret that I didn't fit it into my reading list sooner. That's what I mean. The book that I'm going to review for you today, Golden Boy by Abigail Tarttelin. This book was published in May 2013 by Atria Books. This book has 352 pages and it has around 723 ratings on Goodreads. So this book is about Max Walker, and Max Walker is part of the Walker family. I don't know exactly where they are in the UK, but it's kind of obvious that they're in the UK. And the Walker family is viewed as perfect. The mother, she is, I think, an attorney, a highly successful criminal lawyer. Her name's Karen. My father is named Steve. He's running for office. Max is 16 years old, and he has a younger brother that's around 9. And Max is seen as, he's the golden boy. He is like the popular kid in school. He is an athlete. He does super well in school. And very handsome, so all the girls go gaga over him. But the thing is, Max has a secret, and the fact is that he is intersex. Intersex in the way that he has both male and female genitalia. Only another family that is a close friend of the Walker family knows about it, but no one else knows about it, and no one else really talks about it. Pretty much as a trigger warning if you think about reading this book, within the first 20 pages of this book there is a rape. So just telling you straight off the bat, Max Walker is raped. And I was really taken aback by this, but that is what happens. And so the book is really about Max and also the family trying to not necessarily cope with the rape, but he is trying to handle the aftermath of the rape. And that's really how this book unfolds. And this event really kickstarts him into really thinking about how does he really feel about his intersex identity, and how does he want to identify. And the big thing is about the family, they never really talked about it. They all know about it. It's not necessarily the elephant in the room, but it's just something that they thought would not necessarily take care of itself, but that it would, I don't know, sort itself out if they didn't poke and prod at it. You realize is that it really does take a toll on him, because he hasn't really had the opportunity to think about a lot of things that he now recently has to think about. This book deals with a wide range of issues that are pretty intense. Because that'll be like something similar to Middlesex, but it's like intense Middlesex in terms of subject matter. It just keeps piling on so much drama, but it doesn't pile on in a way that it's just trying to rack it up the drama just for drama's sake, because there are definitely ways that Abigail Tarttelin could have added a little bit more like heat to the fire, but she did not do it. And she does show restraint. The events in here aren't just for drama's sake, but there is a point, and she is controlled in exactly where she takes the story. I first read this in the morning. I first read, like, you know, first few pages, and I was like, this is not something to read in the morning. I cannot read this in the morning. And then I realized I couldn't read this at work either, because what if someone asked me at work, like, oh, what are you reading? And I don't want to say I'm reading a book about a guy who's intersex and he gets raped. And it's like, at home, I was like, I don't really want to read this immediately after work or in the evening, because it's so emotionally intense. So many times I actually had to, if I knew I was going to read it, I needed to emotionally prepare for what I was going to read next. But at the same time, even though it's emotionally hard, it's harrowing. It's a page turner. You want to know what happens next. You need to know what happens next. And you just feel so much for Max. The book is structured and it's told from multiple perspectives. So you see the story from the perspective of his little brother, who, you know, has I think he has a few problems. I think maybe he might have Asperger's, or he might be on the autistic spectrum. It's told from the perspective of his mother, who's trying to figure out what's going on with her son, and she's doubting her choices in the past and if she should have done something sooner. It's told from the perspective of Max, of course, and how he's dealing with all of these events that happen in his life, and it's told from the perspective of his love interest that he gets later during the novel, and then later on it's told from the perspective of his father, Steve. It was a pretty good mix of perspectives. I was at one point so worried that it was going to have it from the perspective of his rapist. I don't think I could have emotionally handled that. I would have probably gone through a panic attack. It's just so intense. And one thing I have to say about the depiction of the rape, or how it handles the rape situation, it is, I think I have to say, it's surprisingly accurate, because he is raped by someone he knows very well. You know him within the first 20 pages. It's not really a spoiler, but it's very accurate, and how he emotionally handles it and how the rapist interacts with them, I think, is very realistic, because most rapes are, one, done by someone that the victim knows very well, and two, most of the time they will probably justify the rape. I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars out of 5. I'm not going to call this book perfect, because just saying the writing style isn't really something to write home about. The writing style is okay, it's alright. I realize it does something similar to, this is going to sound weird, but Korean dramas, in the sense that it does a very good job at eliciting emotion from the reader. If there are any flaws with the book, you would probably totally overlook them because you're so overwhelmed with emotion that you can't really realize stuff that you would have picked at if you hadn't been so overwhelmed with emotion. There's nothing specific about the writing style that I think is that memorable, but the characters, she creates wonderful characters. She writes things very intelligently. How she approaches the subject matter is very intelligent and very thoughtful, and